Brett Cooper has left the Daily Wire and has left them in a very dire position. They can take on Disney with a Snow White counter that could knock out the House of Mouse and give Bentkey, Jeremy Boring, and Ben Shapiro the win they need. But the wind is not in their sails as their lead star is heading off. For brighter stars, perhaps. Is it a good thing for Brett? Is it a bad thing for Daily Wire? We'll give you the full assessment you need right now. Hello, folks, and welcome back to the Pro Channel. We're coming to you from a studio in somewhere sunny USA. Culture, Casino, and Pro, a duo like no other. And Culture, this is the third time we've tried to get this intro right. The audience can't see it, but I appreciate you hanging with us. A video of excellence is on the way, but it stumbled out the gate. But we're going to get started. We're going to get going, folks. We got so much to cover. Culture, how are you?
I'm great. I think we're a duo of determination. That's what I like.
A duo. I remember that song from somewhere, from a film from long ago. Let's see what we've got here. It seems like it was an American Tale. Ooh. Guess what, folks? Here's an American Tale that is all too familiar. A personality joins a big enterprise, gets maybe even bigger than the enterprise itself, and then goes solo. You've seen it before. Here is the take I had. Brett Cooper is leaving the Daily Wire. Now, it doesn't appear that it is related to what the rumors were. We don't know that, though. Who knows what was happening behind closed doors? But Brett Cooper, who's supposed to be taking on Rachel Zegler in a Daily Wire Bentkey production of Snow White, well, she's not going to be there, and that might not be all right. The Snow White movie might be in jeopardy. But I said, after seeing what Brett Cooper said on Daily Wire, I said, huge mistake. Whatever you might think of the Daily Wire, having that sort of infrastructural support at your back is nearly irreplaceable. 99% chance Brett loses influence and financial support as a result. Now, Culture, we had quite a few people who dissented with what I had to say, although they agree in part. Legal Mindset, and we love Andrew. He had what he views as an opportunity for her to become the next Tucker. Valiant Renegade says Brett Cooper will be just fine. And Culture, I got to say, I don't disagree with any of these people. I think Brett will be fine. But I think they're both losers in this. And I can't wait to hear your opinion on it. I think that the Daily Wire probably was willing to do anything they could to keep her. And if they didn't offer her anything and everything they could, they're crazy. Because she brings in an entirely different demographic that they can't replace with any personality that they currently have. And I don't think they can bring in somebody to recapture the lightning in the bottle that is Brett Cooper. And at the same time, Culture, I think that she loses. Because the idea that you can replicate what Tucker did when he left Fox or what Megyn Kelly did, I don't see that as a sure thing. And I think that the power that is given to you by having an entity like the Daily Wire behind you, especially, and here's the point, Brett Cooper, Culture, had major leverage. She had tons of leverage because, again, she's semi-irreplaceable. They can't bring in somebody to fix the demographic loss they're going to suffer by losing her. Culture, am I wrong on any of this?
Well, I think you're partially right. I'm going to give you as much credit as Valiant and Andrew and others did, but I'm going to say this. I think Brett Cooper will be just fine. I know you agree, but I think she's probably better for it if they weren't willing to give her what she was looking for. And let's just face it, it was probably a lot more money. She, in turn, had built up a platform from its very infancy to a $4 million subscriber channel. It's largely done on her back with her personality. It's one of the things you can't replace. It's like trying to replace InfoWars without the guy that started it. In this situation, Daily Wire clearly, despite the fact that they were recently revealed to be a $1 billion entity now, is just trying to keep more inside of their coffers. I think that was really the biggest problem there, and maybe a lack of leverage in her case, because I think that when you go into an entity like Daily Wire, you're involved in a version of self-censorship. Not only that, there seems to be some crazy performance goals that they're looking for, in addition to a revealed contract not that long ago saying that you would be subjected to penalty if you weren't able to meet your numbers because one of your videos got pulled down due to censorship, primarily on YouTube. But when you look at it that way, I'd say that she really has recaptured a level of freedom she probably hasn't enjoyed in a long time. And she exists as a personality. Whether or not they helped build that up or not, which I would suggest absolutely they did. But in less than 24 hours, and in fact, less time than that, she's already over 75 or 76,000 on a channel that has absolutely no material on it so far. So,
right. There's no doubt that she'll be fine, Culture.
Right.
My concern is that as she leaves Daily Wire, I honestly think, because again, if they did not offer her almost anything they could, then they're crazy. Because she brings in a demographic they can't replace. So from my vantage point, I look at it and say, what could Brett Cooper have, what could she have pulled out of Daily Wire to support her? And maybe the answer is not enough. I don't know, but it is difficult. And it's a different world to go from being a personality supported by a corporation to you are the corporation. Going solo is a completely different skill set. And it is, by the way, Culture, what separates some of the YouTubers as they rise in their success. So as they rise, and you see this, by the way, in your own lives out there listening, right? You watch this. What's the principle? There's a name for this, Culture. You'll know it. Think of it for a moment. It's the principle where someone rises up to the point that they finally get a job that they can't do, and then they end their career or they end their time at the company in an unsatisfactory way. Although the 9 levels that they passed through, they were excellent at. They finally got promoted to a place that they couldn't do it, and that's the issue with success. And so, go ahead.
You're right. I mean, the P principle does speak to that.
Thank you.
But the oddest part of it all is that I don't think she's reached the level of incompetence. And I don't think she'll do it within her own structure, if that's what you're suggesting. So,
Right. That's what I'm wondering. Do you think she's going to go to another larger group then? You think she's going to find a network, shall we say, not a TV network, but a network within the new media that she'll join forces with?
I think you can have loose associations between your personal organization and others. I think that that's the way a lot of us survive, is those types of loose informal networks. I would say that to go and do something more formalized like Daily Wire, I don't know that she would need to. I'm not going to say that she might not consider it, but for now, she sounds to be a solo artist, somebody that's going it alone. And I don't blame her for a lot of reasons. It opens up a level of freedom, as I was saying before, that I think she doesn't get to enjoy. Not to mention, from what I'm to understand, she doesn't have to go into the Daily Wire daily to perform on her set. She can do it from the comfort of her own home. Not to mention the fact
there'll be a studio at her home. I'll guarantee you that.
Oh, indeed. I mean, there's a couple locations in my house, but when you look at that kind of an advantage to not have to leave your house someday and be able to work and make a living, it's not terrible. I mean, she's an aspiring farmer, and good for her. But ultimately, I think the thing that she'll miss the most is, quote unquote, her best friend, who's also her producer. She was in her wedding and is taking over her show.
Now, is that confirmed, Culture? There were rumors of that. Is that confirmed yet?
I don't know that it's confirmed. It's been loosely suggested to me by somebody who had actually worked at the Daily Wire that was a possibility. So I'm going to
be a little careful with it. And I'll say this too, Culture. So I have some contacts.
Yeah.
And I have a pretty good idea of what's going on at Daily Wire. That said, I am not going to talk about it publicly, because, folks, you know how complicated it is when you hear about marital distress, or you hear about a friendship that's been severed, and there are lots of different angles, and it's complex trying to figure out who did what and when it was done and how do we fix this. I think I know what the problem is at Daily Wire right now, if you assess there is one. But I don't want to put that out there and have that be poor or low resolution understanding. So I'm going to hold on to it for now, but I do want to bring this up. And by the way, I've got no problem with Daily Wire. Love the Daily Wire. Would love to partner with them or work with them in the future. All of that. I think that Matt Walsh with the What is a Woman documentary was fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
I think that the Rossist documentary that he put out was fantastic. I laughed heartily. I think that Dr. Jordan B. Peterson is one of the greatest gifts of our generation and has revolutionize young people to take on responsibility. And Ben Shapiro is a genius in all of that. Losing Brett Cooper, though, the problem for Daily Wire is that, again, Brett Cooper was reaching a totally different audience than those. And by the way, I would say that they better do everything in their power now to hold on to Jordan Peterson and Matt Walsh. Because as much as I love all the other personalities, those two, I think, are capturing a different demographic still. And so you don't want to lose Peterson, you don't want to lose Walsh. The other guys seem to me to be kind of the Venn diagram, the circle's very close on the demographics they're reaching. But this is another loss here, Culture. And then we'll get into the Snow White issue. The other loss is, take a look at this from Gina Carano.
Okay.
Gina says to Brett, I adore Brett Cooper. She is such a talent, but beyond that, she has that very special sparkle.
Yeah.
No matter where she is at, she will shine. There is no limit. I'm so looking forward to everything she does moving on from her work at the Daily Wire. Here's where you can start supporting her while she navigates this new start. She is a star. And I'm reminded of that the animated outros they did on some of the cartoons back in the day, the Saturday morning stuff. Culture, Daily Wire also did not hang on to Gina. And that's something that I don't want to go too deep into, other than to say that these are two very prominent, beloved women who reach out to the people that listen to our stuff. And I think that if Daily Wire had successfully held on to them, they'd be in a better position.
Yes.
I don't know if that's possible. I'm not laying blame on anyone. I'm not claiming to put out there how this came to be. But these are two women that if they were there, I think they'd have a stronger portfolio, a stronger roster of personalities. What say you?
No, I agree with you 100%. In fact, I find it odd that the people that we seem to be losing publicly happen to all be ladies. I don't know if there's something to that or if that's just, coincidence. But I will say that they are worse off because they didn't retain both of those personalities. I mean, what incredible people that can speak to generations that they aren't going to have touch with anymore. Perhaps they will have a loss of engagement with the feminine gland. And I feel like that's detrimental to anybody. I try to encourage and coax my audience. I'd really appreciate it when the ladies speak out, because it gives me an opinion and a piece of information that would not otherwise have, and it allows me to grow as a creator. Daily Wire could get stuck in being a little bit more locker room at this point, and it's hard to say exactly without seeing the new replacement for Brett show up on the comment section. But I'll tell you right now, if you look at Social Blade and other trackers, they're already starting to lose traction with her channel. I think to the tune of maybe 30,000 subscribers already. That doesn't seem like much. Doesn't seem like much from a 4 million channel size. But if that's just the beginning in 2 days, what does that tell you? It tells you that they're going to disengage with people who found her more entertaining than they may find her replacement. I don't know if you can replace her. I think a lot of times when you craft a show, you're crafting it around a person. And this revolves around the same argument or conversation, I should say, that we had yesterday about what do you do with the view? Because you can't, are those people separable from that show? And you can bring in a whole new cast, which is something they would have to do. Or is that show just destined to pass into, obscurity because you can't replace those personalities? And that's what we do. What I do, what you do, what everybody in our sphere does, the people of the fellowship and all of that, we fall in a way in a group of people that just want to talk about things plainly and honestly. And a lot of that is part of our personality. So when a personality goes away, can, Culture Casino as a channel continue? Probably not. Can it expand into something else with my presence? Certainly. I think that there is a lot of personality at the top of the Daily Wire. I mean, some very strong personalities that are even engaging and entertaining themselves. But unfortunately, you lose a couple big stars in a row, and potentially, have a couple more contract negotiations coming up here in the future. I'm worried, Pro. You've actually sparked more anxiety than I was prepared for, to think that Daily Wire, if they were to lose one or two more people, could be in a world of hurt.
And this is why, Culture, we want Daily Wire to win. Like, we're rooting for them is because Daily Wire decided that they were going to get into the original content creation game. And the Snow White movie that they were supposed to bring out that has Brett Cooper starring in it, we don't know what the status of that is now. We don't know if it's going to come out, but it seems to me that it may have been at least one of the forces that forced Disney to draw back and moderate themselves. And I think that a successful Daily Wire Bentkey service or any other moderate or conservative content creation platform out there, that it pulls the companies like Disney, it forces them because they don't want to lose that money. And so then they are forced to come back to the middle, the sensible center. Money is made there. By the way, I think at a massive scale, that is what happened with Elon Musk when he bought X. Listen, I love YouTube. Culture, it's where we make our dough. This is the place to be. But the reason that YouTube is a vastly different platform today than it was 4 years ago, I believe, is because X has brought free discourse back to the internet. And therefore, we are able to freely discuss and dialogue about things here that would have been very difficult to do just a few years ago. Let's read through this article real quick. And by the way, as we get ready to do this, Culture, you brought up the idea of how difficult it is for a platform that's based around a personality to transition, right, and become a multi-generational kind of thing where you can actually pass the baton on. Yeah. The only platform that I see doing that successfully right now is the Dave Ramsey Show. But that they're following a 10-year concerted effort to develop up personalities to replace Dave eventually. And I hope he's still doing his thing when he's 100 years old. But that's the only one that I can call to memory right now that where they're successfully doing that. Folks in the comments, drop down. Let us know in the comments below if you know of a platform or a show that is doing that well beyond the Ramsey Show.
Well, okay, I might be able to point one out, like Valuetainment.
But how so? Because I don't think PBD's going anywhere, right?
Yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. But I think he's developing people around him and shows around that.
Okay, so, that is a good point. Yeah. Yes, and so, PBD, by the way, could be the next Daily Wire. They could usurp. We shall see.
Yeah, I think he's kind of got an idea to do that. It's crazy where his career took him originally, what he used to do versus what he does now. But that's an aside. I
feel like him sometimes. I tell you, this is not what I thought I would be doing. Although it's not foreign to me to do it. It's just it's what a crazy world. Let's take a look. This is by Paul Bond inside of Newsweek. It's an old one, but we're bringing it up because it is important to remember that podcaster and actress Brett Cooper is supposed to be in a new non-woke Snow White. We're going to see how this goes. Is it going to be like Terror on the Prairie? We're not sure. Will it even get a release now? We don't know. Snow White has found herself in the center of a political controversy now that two contrasting movies about her are set to be released. In October, conservative media outlet The Daily Wire said it would challenge the Walt Disney Company by releasing its own live-action version of Snow White. Snow White and the Evil Queen is set to release on Bentkey, an outlet for family movies and shows before the end of the year. Now, they delayed it, and we believe they delayed it so that they could release it when Snow White releases from Disney. Now, I think that is very questionable. Like, would Brett Cooper come back to promote for the Daily Wire? We don't know. But this, Culture, is why I said what I said originally that got me in a little bit of trouble with people. It is because Brett Cooper, when she is with Daily Wire, she not only has the ability to podcast, she has the ability, and we better pause that, she has the ability to be part of the entertainment side of things. And I don't know how that's going to go over time, but it's more difficult to be into the original content creation without a giant studio behind you. That said, I don't know. What do you think, Culture? Are they going to still bring out Snow White? Do you think that Brett would come back to promote it? Does this get dust-binned now? Is this a huge amount of money that they've lost? Putting the resources into something that will never see the light of day. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, first of all, there's a lot of questions there. They finished the Pendragon series. I think she was a big part of that. Whether or not they'd already done principal photography or not, that's unknown to me at this moment. I have reached out to people that I know, so we'll see. But if it's,
I'm told Pendragon is costing a lot of money.
It was very expensive. I can't say what I know.
Me and you are in the same position there.
Yeah. But and I'm sure we know from different people, which is kind of funny, but it's very strange that there are times when projects will supersede individual employees' needs in various organizations. But I will say that I don't know if they've done anything on it. I know that it's considered to be still in production as of yesterday. And again, as soon as I find out, I'll be happy to relate same. But I want them to continue on with it. And if she has a contract separate from her, her employee contract to make that film, then I wouldn't see any reason why they wouldn't want to do that. It seems like a guaranteed winner that won't cost a lot of money. And I'll bring back the same thing I said before. They supposedly had reached a valuation of over $1 billion. Yes. I don't know. Didn't they spend about $100 million on the Pendragon thing?
I can't say what I know, but
gosh,
I can tell you that if I had a Snow White movie and I was looking at this from Disney, I'd be finding a way to get that thing out. I'll tell you that. I'd be putting it out when they put theirs out.
Me too.
I want to do a clarification, folks. This is one of those humor me for a moment. We'll go in the weeds for like 10 seconds. We had a tremendous comment on my video from earlier today. Someone said, "Bro, you said it broke records, but the first Snow White trailer actually had more dislikes." Well, folks, the original Snow White trailer they put out from Disney had a 92%. Let me get the exact thing here. Hang on. Had a 93.3. There we go. 93.3% dislike to like ratio, which meant that it was still beaten by a single movie in the top 40 most disliked videos of all time on YouTube, according to ratio. There's another one that's got a 94%. This Snow White, this new trailer from Disney, currently is leading every other trailer, every other video ever released on YouTube. In terms of the top 40 most disliked videos, this has the highest ratio, 96.29%. It has broken the YouTube record. And that, Culture, is incredible. I mean, of all the videos in the world, Snow White managed to break the record. Highest dislike ratio for a film with this many likes, dislikes, and views.
That's crazy.
It's insane. I mean, we can find a video that's got 10 views and 10 dislikes. I mean, we can do that. That's not legitimate. We're talking about major releases. It has the record. It holds a record Disney never wanted to achieve. If I'm Bentkey, if I'm Daily Wire, I don't care what it takes. I'm releasing a counter to that when it comes out. Culture, there's one thing that cannot be countered on the internet, and it's you, sir. It's you. Tell the folks out there where they can find you on this great, big, beautiful web. Hardest working man on YouTube.
I don't know about that, but you can certainly find me on Culture Casino on my channel here on YouTube. You can also find me on That Game Place, the game channel I run in partnership with That Park Place. And we're growing on both places, but I'd love to grow more. So take advantage of the free membership on both of those channels. It's free, doesn't cost you anything, and turn on the notifications. Do the same thing here. If you look down there, there's a little red button instead of a gray one. You probably should do that as well. So subscribe to everything and you won't miss anything. That's my Culture.
Speaking of rumors, we've heard that you may be trimming your beard in the future. Is that true, sir?
It's true. As soon as Santa's done for the year, the beard gets a bit shorter and a bit thinner. So I'm looking forward to less beard maintenance, to be sure.
Culture, what we ask is if the viewers demand the fullness, the robustness of the beard come January and February, if people say, like if we run a poll and they say we got to have the beard back, would you be willing to submit to a beard filter or generative AI beard tools so that you can be as fully bearded today?
Well, it's just easier to keep. It's just easier to keep the beard. We'll see. Maybe there could be.
I'm giving you the opportunity. If you need to trim, we've got a way to bring it back and get the win.
Virtual beard. No, I don't know. I don't think you'd have to. Plus, it grows crazy fast, bro. You don't know how often I have to trim this thing anymore.
We're going to patent this. Beard tech.
Beard tech.
Beard tech.
Okay.
All right, folks. Help us out. Give us the boost we need to get that beard project going. Help us by clicking the like button, share, subscribe, and I've messed up the outro because I'm chuckling now at the idea of all the names we can come up with for beard AI technology. All right, venture capitalists, it's time. Drop in the comments. Let us know how much you'll throw at the beard tech. All right, folks, until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, grow beards, and keep having fun.
What on earth could I ask for Christmas that's like a guarantee from Santa? Oh, I know!
Yeah, Wilton, we need to talk. You're likely not going to get anything from Santa because you've not really been, good.
Well, don't be so sure, my good fellow.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm gonna go find Slade and wish him a happy Merry Christmas holidays. Okay.
Bye. All right, let's see what he asked for. Coal and a gifted WDW Pro membership. That little troll does have a heart. A diseased, twisted, tiny, sinful heart, but a heart nonetheless. Well, Merry Christmas, everyone!